Player one. Time. Player two. Level one.
Good evening. It is Monday. It is 8 o'clock. That means it is time for Retro Gaming Revival and the Total Evercade Podcast, episode 17. 17.
Wow. That's
Can
crazy.
you believe it? Can you believe it? We've got lots of stuff to talk about, lots of good stuff to be getting going. Welcome everyone who is here live and watching in the chat. You are obviously all very, very welcome here. So who have we got? We have got Mr. Arcave. We have got Rob. Wonderful to see you, Rob. Nick Skipkins. Good evening. It's lovely to see you. Mr. Nick Craddock. Evening. Pete, it's Snestastic. Wonderful to see you. Timbo. Lamney Pie. Wonderful to see you too. Yes, Mr. Snestastic. Go to.
Go to.
Watching in a silk kimono. That's extravagant. Excellent. So we have got our lovely panel as always. We've got Mr. Blunners.
Hello.
We've got Mr. Ryan.
Hello.
And the man, the myth, the legend, Sir Top and Hat, Mr. Derek. How are we doing, sir?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be a great evening.
It is indeed. We have got lots to talk about. So let's jump in with our first topic, as always, which is latest news and what have you been playing? So let's go to Derek first this time. Derek, what have you been playing?
Oh my goodness, yeah, so many different games this week, but one that's particularly caught my attention again was that Radical Bikers on Pico Interactive 3. I don't know why, but I'm just completely hooked on it. Just the racing around the streets and trying to take all the shortcuts and grab the money. It's just great fun, and it's instant pick up and play. It's one of those games I can just get into and lose myself for a bit. And it's got some great settings. The later you get into the levels with the snow levels and things like that, it's just brilliant. And yeah, I love dodging the cars and picking up the power-ups like the lightning bolt or the boot where you can kick the car. It's just a great addition there. You can imagine a pizza delivery person doing that. So yeah, it's been a great deal of fun, that one this week, and one I've really enjoyed.
Excellent stuff. Mr. Ryan, let's go to you next. What have you been playing?
Well, the game of the month I did download, but we'll talk about that shortly. But I did have a go on Sensible Soccer. Went away this weekend, so took the Steam Deck, took me Evercade as well. Played Sensible Soccer, and we've got retro game. I've created a retro gaming revival team on there. But I made it about 2 years ago, so I had to do a few updates because there was a certain someone associated with a video game console that's no longer coming out was central midfielder for us. So yeah, he's no longer in the team. But yeah. So I enjoy Sensible Soccer. I like to think I'm quite good at Sensible Soccer. So
You are pretty good.
Yeah, so yeah, just played that on handheld on Codemasters Collection 1.
Excellent, good stuff. And what did you win by? Was it 1-3 or something?
I beat James from It's Much More YouTube channel. Was it I 1-2-3 or something? I can't remember. Triangle Face in the chat. I'll remember what the score was, but
3-2 or something. He called it, didn't he?
Yeah, I think James said he was ranked in the top 10 in the world or something in Sensible Soccer, and I beat him. and then he claimed that his controller didn't work. He had thumb injury, the usual excuses. But I had witnesses watching, and yeah.
Excellent. And Mr. Blunners, what have you been playing, sir?
Right, so I've been playing a bit of Eli's Awakening still. Not too far into it. I've played the game of the month as well, which obviously we're going to talk about later. And I've also been doing a live stream on this channel of Full Void. So I've been doing that. Didn't finish it yet because I don't want to go for it too soon, but yeah, very enjoyable that game. A lot to talk about, but I don't want to ruin too many things for when it comes out. But like after having our interview the other week with them, after all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that game, and just how it looks, and it's just brilliant. It's very good.
Yeah, we had a really good time chatting to the Full Void people to the point where I think I might actually even pick it up on the Switch as a digital copy when I've got the Evercade copy. Just it's nice to have the physical one. I can play that on the Evercade, and then I can play the one on the Switch when I go away. Because from what I have played of it, I really like the look of it. So it's definitely one that I think I'm going to repeat play. So yeah, I'm probably going to do that as well. Yeah, I can't wait to get into Full Void.
Full Void's great. It's so great. And
it looks cool.
Watching Blunners playing it online, I was watching it with my missus, and she was like, "Oh, I want to play this game. Looks really good." So she's going to pinch my Steam Deck off me. I think she might even be playing it now, actually, because she really liked the look of it. Thought it was a really good game, and it was very funny watching Blunners instant die within about 5 seconds.
Yeah, so I just wanted to have obviously we've been going on about. Oh, hang on. Well, yeah, I wanted to see like the art style and everything, and then I was instantly dead. Like that. Instant.
Oh yeah, dead. if you hang around too much, it catches you straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah, I didn't realise that at the time. It just reminds me of the guys out of the Metroid Dread game. The characters that are after you, that's what they remind me of. But yeah, I was literally just thought, I want to have a look at the scenery, and then something came out of nowhere, and I was like, tried legging it, killed me straight away. You do die a lot. Just be prepared to die a lot, basically.
But it's a kind game where it will put you back to your last screen when it's not one of those games.
Yes, it's not like you were starting right back. You are starting right where you were.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's cool. Quite funny.
So I can do some breaking news. I have a new cartridge. Have a new cartridge.
Can we guess?
Since the last episode. I think you'll probably know what it is.
Oh yeah, I do.
So after a little bit of deliberation and chatting to you guys, I went with Indie Heroes 2, predominantly for Tapeworm. So I got in touch with Mr. Al Lowe. Basically said, "Have you got any Indie Heroes 2s I can buy off you? Because that would be cool to buy one from you." He said, "Yep." So I got him to put a little squiggle on the front cover. I got a squiggle on the cartridge, and then just because Mr. Lowe is a great guy, he also chuffed in for the same price as the cartridge the little flea plush. And some Evercade pins, which I thought was incredibly generous of him. Didn't have to do that, so I was greatly appreciated of that. The cartridge is actually in my Evercade at the moment, but he's done a little squiggle on that bit there.
Oh yeah, awesome.
On the cartridge there. And like I say, so I mainly picked this up because Tapeworm. I really wanted to play that. I think I'm at level 80 something. I think I messaged Al when I got really stuck on a level. I went away to London a couple of weeks ago, so I took my Evercade with me then. Basically just played Tapeworm solidly in the evenings and messaged him, I think on like level 78 or 79 or something. I was like, "You sadist, this is quite challenging." So yes, addicted to Tapeworm. What's the other game I really enjoyed?
Girth Discount at its finest.
It is indeed. How do you pronounce it? Is it Ira, the Crow Maiden? I don't know how you pronounce it. Yeah. I've been really enjoying that as well. That's a really, really cool little platformer. I'm looking forward to going through everything else on it. But at the moment, I've just been playing those 2 games off of there. So any other recommendations that people want to throw at me? If you've got some recommendations from Indie Heroes 2, what I should be diving into next, get them in the chat. I will absolutely take that on board. And then November is just tons of new Evercade games. So I'm dead excited. And I've actually got carts on pre-order now. It's fantastic.
I might actually
catch up a bit.
I might actually pick up the Sunsoft collection in the next couple of days because I've realised I'm all up to date with the home console apart from Sunsoft now. So if I pick that up, at least I'm keeping that up to date, and then I can worry about the other ones, further down the line.
Yeah.
I might pick that up. So in a couple of weeks, I might be able to talk about that.
Yeah, Sunsoft looks like a really nice collection. Is that in the description to talk about tonight? Fantastic. So I look forward to hearing what you guys think of it, because there's definitely a game on there. I'm digressing, jumping ahead. I'll talk about that when we get to the Sunsoft bit, shall we? Let's not jump ahead. Okay, so next topic. there's a series of carts that are now going into. Do they call this the Legacy Collection or something? And it's not a series that I thought would probably go into that Legacy one for some weird reason. So Atari collections are now going into the Legacy. So have they said what the final date is going to be?
No, I'm aware of.
Not yet.
No. Okay. So it's going to be interesting to find out what, when, where, who, why, and all of that good stuff.
End of December 23, they've said our contract with Atari comes to an end.
Oh wow. Okay. So it's actually the contract that's come to an end. Okay. So how do people feel about that? Let's start with Mr. Blunners this time. How do you feel about Atari going into the Legacy? Does it really do anything? I don't know.
I don't know really, because it's a bit of an odd one really, because it's not, like you said, it's not one you would think that they're going to lose. So it's a bit concerning that more and more of these carts are now going to start turning into Legacy carts, and it's like, and then all that's going to do is just going to, like, these eBay scalpers are going to love it, because it's just going to push the price up on these carts. So yeah, it's a shame really. It's a shame. It is not something that I thought was going to happen. If anything, I thought you'd be getting some Hyper Megatech consoles in the future with some of these Atari games on there. So no, I'm not too sure what to make really on that one.
It is an odd one. Sorry, I'm looking for batteries. My mouse's batteries have run out at the same time. We are live. Mr. Ryan, what are your thoughts on the Atari collection going into the Legacy?
I was surprised, to be honest, because we've got 2 Atari Lynx collections, and I assumed that we would get another Atari Lynx collection. And I've said that for the last couple of years. I've been adamant that whenever an announcement's coming, it's going to be another Atari Lynx collection. Because I'm sure I've read somewhere that the CEO of Blaze was a massive a massive Lynx fan when he was growing up, so he was really chuffed to get these games on Evercade. So I fully expected to see another Lynx cart, and I would have expected as well to see another Atari arcade collection. We've had one collection. My knowledge of Atari is not great. It's very limited, if I'm honest, but I assume there's hundreds of Atari arcade games out there, and we've got a handful of them on one cartridge. So yeah, it is surprising. And Atari's a name and brand that you can put on a box and people will recognize it instantly, and then be interested in the product. So yeah, it is a surprising one, and it makes me wonder where.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying this comment. I think Mark's making a good thing there. Are they bringing their own stuff out?
Yeah, that might, because there's a 2600 plus coming out, isn't there? But then Atari's on everything, so surely they sell themselves to everyone and everything. There's so many Atari devices out there, or systems with Atari games on it. It is really surprising. So yeah, I don't know whether this is just moving forward. Blaze are going to let the older cartridges just not die off in a sense, just expire and concentrate on new licenses.
So is that right then? I think Lamney Pie put in there that the Atari arcade collection, is that going into Legacy as well?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So all the Atari carts going into Legacy. Okay. There we go.
Is this what they put out? News.
Yeah.
Here.
Cartridge update.
So yeah.
Oh wow, and the Lynx collections are going as well.
Yeah.
Dang.
Everything.
Dang.
Lynx are 2 of the best collections, and I'm amazed they're letting them go.
Yeah.
Because playing a Lynx, now, unless you get the screen modified, isn't a very good experience, and then you need about 100 batteries to play the blooming thing anyway.
Yeah.
And an Evercade, and especially on an EXP, which is an even far superior screen to the original Evercade, is going to be a far better experience playing it on an original Atari Lynx. So yeah, I could understand maybe letting Atari 1 and 2 go, but letting the Lynx collections and the arcade ones go just yeah, I don't understand it. Maybe Derek can shed a bit more light on it.
Yeah. So yeah, Derek, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, these days, thankfully, Atari is back in a big way. I guess the lesson we need to learn from that is we need Atari more than Atari needs us. At the moment, of course, they have got the 2,600 plus due to ship very shortly. And obviously, they're looking into bringing some new cartridges. They've purchased from Berserk to Atari Age. They're slowly curating back that Atari collections. And if you look at another unit that's coming out very shortly by My Arcade, that's another Atari unit. And this one features, I think, 2,600, 7,800, and 5,200 games on it. There's a lot of games on that collection. I think there's 100 in total or something like that on that collection. Or is it 200? I'm not sure. There's certainly a lot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people vying for these Atari licenses. And I do think it's a brand that brings people to Evercade, especially the Atari Lynx. To pick up an original Atari Lynx now, you'd have to mod the screen and all sorts of endless things. And by the time you've done it, it's cost you 10 times more than it would to pick up a $17.99 cartridge and have a go at your favorite game.
Yeah.
I think, Blaze, they might have dropped the ball here a little bit. It doesn't mean we couldn't see another Atari Lynx collection in the future without Atari. Of course, one of them was Songbird Pro, and they've continued to go on and make other Atari Lynx games like Micro Vaders, for instance. So there's no reason we couldn't get another third Atari Lynx collection. It just wouldn't be official from Atari. An arcade collection, of course, we all wanted more. We wanted the Cisco Heats. We wanted some of those big bang Atari games, and especially at the moment with things like Berserk and Frenzy, its sequel, we wanted to see some of that on the Evercade because they're awesome games. But unfortunately, it does look thin on the ground. I know in that message they do mention that we might see something from Atari in the future, and it more than likely it's probably 5,200 because things like Atari Lynx, Atari Jaguar are still in the very infancy there. So I don't know. We really see anything too much there in that vein, but perhaps an Atari Age collection we could have in the future. But I do know a lot of people that have told me that they've come into the Evercade for Atari, and obviously, though, any people that might think about coming in future, unless they can grab these, it's a big pulling point, to be honest. Especially, as I say, the arcade collections and Atari Lynx. Luckily, somewhere around here, I've got a box full of them, factory sealed. So, yes, that's rather handy. So, hang on to that for a few years and watch them go on the ground at retailers. Yeah, so watch this space, eh? Such a shame because Atari is such a big brand, and I think with the way they're growing here at Blaze Entertainment, I think they really need to have a piece of that and be a part of that and continue to build that relationship. And I don't know how much they perhaps wanted to renew the license, but I would consider it to have been worth it.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you've all said, really. When someone says retro gaming, more often than not, the first thing that people think of is Atari, even if it is subconsciously. You do just go Atari because it's classic. I still don't have the Lynx collections, so I'm gonna have to get on that before those disappear. I don't know how I feel about it in a weird way. It's sort of, I don't know. It almost means, I mean, it's possibly a good way to get people to buy the last remaining stock of these carts. They're going to disappear, so everybody goes out and buys them all. But it's kind of, I don't know. There's a little part of me that quite likes this idea that maybe after 2 years, it's they kind of keep it moving rather than having a solid catalog from say 1 to 50 constantly available. It's just 1 to 20, and then in a couple of years' time, the 1 to 10 are going to start dropping off, and it just sort of. Maybe it keeps it fresh. I don't know. It's weird. You don't see it with any other system, but then every other system can probably afford whatever the license may cost. And like you said, Derek, there's a high chance that whatever the cost was, it was probably worth the cost, just so you can keep those Atari games on it. Yeah. or is it going to open them up later down the line to sort of think if people keep asking for those older carts, in 2 years' time, maybe they can do like a, Evercade Platinum collection where you bring out all the old carts again, but bring them out for like, $14.99 or something. You bring them out at a slightly reduced price and a new box art for whatever it is to be like, we're going to do, I don't know, 10,000 prints of this one or something. I don't know. Who knows what could be going on behind the scenes? But I think what everyone has said, and a few people have said in the chat, it's probably down to some sort of licensing and the cost involved in that, and God knows what else.
I think what Nick's put maybe the cost of the new license is too much compared to current sales, which probably is.
Yeah, it could,
you think
could
about
be,
it.
definitely. Yeah. Plus, as I say, if they stop that money, perhaps they could invest it into something like Sega or Konami, and we'd all be glad to see those cartridges.
We would. So it's almost like cycling your licenses, isn't it? Rather than pay out constantly for the old ones, let's get some new ones in, and then when they're done, we'll pay out for another one, and it could be interesting. So it's kind of almost leading to a speculative question that's not even in the what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? In the topics for this evening, but what's next? What cart is going to go into the Legacy Collection next? Because I didn't think it would be Atari.
It's got to be in television next, surely. Like Snowstastics said, it's got to be in television. You'd imagine, because is that even still a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. They're still in business. They're still operating. They've had to obviously lose a few staff in the head office and things like that. But they're still very much in business. In fact, they're even still going through the Amico motions, believe it or not, dare us to say this on the show. But there's still a lot of believers within that company that think it still might be a thing. So you never know. But for me, I would have thought Interplay's perhaps one of them next. But do we want to lose Earthworm Jim?
That is a game and a half for me. I can't. Man, that would suck. That would suck so much if Earthworm Jim disappeared from it. I can't. That would really suck.
It's not just Earthworm Jim. I personally think Clay Fighters, and I spoke to Derek about this in the week, is a recognisable game that people will see on a box and be like, "Oh, I remember that when I was growing up."
Yep.
Yeah.
And that nostalgia takes over, and you don't realise that it's not that great a game until you actually play it. But to lose Interplay as well, that will be a big if for them.
Yeah, because it's got a Booger Man on it as well, isn't it? And that's not a cheap game. If Interplay went, that would really suck. Let's not talk about what's going to be next. That sort of makes you feel a little bit. Oh no, I don't like it.
It's a long time off, eh?
Yes, let's hope so. Because it's been a little while since some of those earlier carts went into the Legacy line, didn't it? Was that this year? Was it earlier this year? I can't remember when it was now, but it was long enough ago for us to have forgotten about it. And then when it comes up with Atari, like, oh yes, this is a thing. You're doing this thing.
I imagine the Lynx ones will sell fast. They'll be the ones that will go first.
Yeah,
I'm convinced of that.
Yeah, well,
the others not so much, but I imagine Lynx 1 and 2 will go quickly.
So I buy them off Rob.
Still got 1 and 2 in the wrapper. Well, I think as it
brand this time next year.
Keep hold of them, Rob.
As it happens, I will probably keep an eye out and see if there's some good deals for 1 and 2 myself, because I don't have those. Dang.
Did you, just before we move on, Derek, did you tease us a little bit there with 5200? You mentioned Atari 5200 games. Was that a little tease?
You never know. You never know. You have to see what next year brings, but next year is a big if, so you never know.
Oh, so in which case we can now officially play for the first time.
Tease me, tease me, tease me, tease me, Derek, till I lose control. Tease me till I lose control. Take over my body and soul. Oh, yeah.
Amazing. But our good friend Goldtooth came in. And every time Derek teases us with something, we will play that.
It's got to happen. Absolutely has to happen. So good. Thank you, Mr. Goldtooth. Came up with it on the last time, and he delivered very quickly on that. So thank you very much. Okay, next topic, and that is Game of the Month. Oribody, is that how you pronounce it?
Something like that. Yeah.
Oribody,
Or
Binder's
body, yes.
Tale.
Binder's Tale.
Orbody.
As in ore,
Orb.
yeah, like you get out the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, so now I've done a mispronunciation of reading that and thinking, that's going to stick with me forever now. I'm just going to call it Oribody. Okay, so let's start with Derek. So, Game of the Month, Orbody. What is this game about and what is it like?
Yeah, I mean, this game of the month is if you're into Mega Man, that type of game, then yeah, this is definitely one for you. There's power-ups that start each level, so you just shoot the little box in the air and that will drop down, and that can give you a different gun, like a projectile gun or one with a double dash coming out of it. And basically, it's your job to try and get through the level and beat the boss at the end. So you've got a few stages, 3 or 4 stages, and then you face a boss at the end of the stage. So yeah, it's got a few different settings. It's sort of a dystopian future where you're on the planet of Orbody, and yeah, basically there's a entity trying to take over the planet, and you've got to try and shut them down. So I've seen it for quite a while actually. So yeah, it's yeah, as you can see, you can drop down there. You've just got to, as I say, as long as you duck on most enemies, you're pretty much good. You won't take any damage. I got through the game fairly quickly. Took me about 20 minutes, I suppose, in all. But yeah, as I say, there, look,
took you 20 minutes. Wow, well done, mate.
Yeah, he didn't
I
have
want
to
to see this
there.
live. He must have some skills there.
Just duck. You know, you won't take any shots, look. And if you just remember that, he doesn't have to do anything there. He could have just ducked, look, and that had gone over. So yeah, as long as you remember the duck, yeah. Oh, I ate that duck. And
I had a go earlier, and I wasn't too great, to be honest.
There, look. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he's making hard work there, and he jumping that bit.
Yeah, they can be quite tricky. They come down the steps, so
they fly down here, don't they?
There you go, lovely. And
quack. It is though, but I don't know.
There you go. And then you get this one, look, and he'll explain. He's like a little bit of sort of an interim boss. And then it's just a case of just, I mean, that's lucky. He's got the projectile one there. So that's dead easy. Look, you can just fire from a distance, or you can just go from below and just fire up. But yeah, you've just got to watch out for that one that explodes at the bottom. So as long as you position yourself far enough away, it'll never get you. So,
okay. I see what you mean by the Mega Man inspiredness. It's definitely got that sort of run and gun vibe about it, hasn't it?
Yeah, I love those
Mega
Man games. So,
that was about.
Is that an advert?
Oh, it's an advert. Yeah, it's an advert.
Who was that?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Sorry, Derek. Carry on, buddy.
So yeah, as I say, it's a great little pick up and play for people, and luckily, as I say, some of the later levels are a little bit more challenging. So yeah, you have to get ready for that. And the final boss battle is quite interesting as well, because he has 2 formations. So once you've got him in the first one, he'll protect himself in like a box with a very small hole, and you've actually got to try and jump and shoot through that hole in between him firing at you. And yeah, that can be quite tricky. Again, though, there's a pattern to it, and just watch the pattern. And literally, if you jump, I think it's 2 jumps at a time in between that pattern, yeah, you'll get him out of there, no problem.
Excellent. Ryan, have you had a chance to play the Game of the Month?
I have. I downloaded it earlier, and I haven't completed it yet, but I've only played about 5 minutes, so another 15 minutes, and I'm sure I'll get to the end. Yeah, but I totally agree with what Derek says. It is very Mega Man-like. The music, to me, really reminded me of the BMX level of California Games. I don't know if you got that vibe. Yeah, I've really got that sort of California Games vibe to the music. Yeah, it's a okay game, I guess. It is very much duck, fire, jump, fire. There's not huge amounts to it. I didn't realise that if you shot the things flying over that you could get level ups and things. So obviously when I play it next time, that'll make it a little bit easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
I say this every time in the Game of the Month, but we were so spoiled with Donut Dodo, which was the first game, and then I just feel progressively they've not been anywhere near that level since, which has been quite disappointing, really. And I think this is shaping up to possibly, apart from Donut Dodo, it's possibly shaping up to be the worst Indie Heroes collection that we're going to have. And it's a shame because Donut Dodo is such a good game that
It is a great game.
Yeah, and you'll put it out on a collection with games that are not anywhere near its level. And I see Crazy Burgers put Big to Small was awesome, but to me that's just like buying a puzzle book that my mum would buy years ago and take on holiday with her. I don't want to do puzzle games. I want to have games that are fun and exciting. So yeah, not for me.
Just before we move on to Blunners, it just shows you how quick
internet is
people
there.
are to like make something. How long ago did that advert? How long ago did that advert appear? Like under 2 minutes ago, and there's somebody who's made an account about it already. Unbelievable. Some people are so quick. Shocking behavior.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Indie Heroes 3 could be one of the best collections. I've kind of forgotten, other than Donut Dodo, I've kind of forgotten what other games of the month there were. What have we had so far?
Yeah, things like Thunderpool, things like that.
Yeah, I liked Thunderpool.
That was cool.
Yeah, I don't mind it. As I said, I've had a quick go on this game as well. Definitely Mega Man vibes, like Sir Tom Hat was saying. Music's a bit crazy as well at some points. But trying to get through. I only had a quick go just before we came on. But no, I don't want to. Like I was saying, it's brilliant you get these games, but I don't want to hammer them too early, and then when I get the cart, not really play them. So I just want to have a quick go, see what they're like. Think, but don't mind that. I don't want to go I don't want to be completing any because I won't really want to play it when I get it. But no, I quite enjoy it. Too bad. It also has a difficulty meter as well, so you can go and then it basically just gives you more lives. But like so Tom Hat says, once you get that duck motion going, you can go all the way to the end, I think.
Go all the way by ducking. Yeah. Okay. It's it won't shock anyone to know that I still haven't updated my Evercade. I was paranoid that there was going to be some bricking going on. So if everyone's updated it and done that, then I think I'm probably in a safe place to do that now. So
there is always that worry when you update the VS because it goes to that like black screen
and
loads of brick goes over it and stuff. And it's not the cleanest update that you'll have on a game system. But yeah, it'll be fine. Well, Ollie, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it probably will be fine now. So I'll get on that probably after the stream and get it set up, get it going. Okay, interesting. So I did actually have a quick look at the other games of the month, and I have to admit, I don't think I side completely with Crazy Burger. I think it's going to be the best one we've ever had, but certainly looking at the games we've had so far, they've been pretty cool.
Bone Marrow was fun last month, wasn't it?
So there's definitely some good ones. I think unlike you, Ryan, I am a bit of a sucker for a puzzle game. I do like a puzzle game.
It's because I don't like using my brain. I can't do Sudokus. I think I tried one about 20 years ago, and that was me. I gave up after about 3 numbers. So I appreciate people do like them, but I'm just not intelligent enough to do puzzle games.
You are.
I haven't got the patience for them. I just want a game where, like this game of the month, where you just duck. That's my level of ability.
Quick, duck and cover. Cool. Okay, so that's gonna smooth us on nicely to our next topic, which I'm fully expecting to be sold on this straight away. And that is the Sunsoft collection review. So who has the Sunsoft collection? I think it's going to be just Derek this month. I think Ryan's dropped the ball on this one this month. He's down to pick it up. He's normally all over that. So Derek, Sunsoft collection. Let's bring up what we've got. Sunsoft collection.
Get it up there.
Evercade. So the one that really stuck out to me on this when it was announced was is it Acrobat or Aerobat? acrobat. I knew it had aero and acro and bat in it somewhere. So that was the one that was really going to sell it to me, because I remember playing that on Super Nintendo. I remember loving the hell out of it. So yeah, Derek, let's go through the Sunsoft collection. How are you finding it?
Sunsoft games are always fun. The first one, obviously, that jumps out at you is Mr. Gimmick. The soundtrack is something special, and if nothing else, just listen to the soundtrack. Find yourself a YouTube video and listen to that soundtrack. It really is outstanding for an NES game. How they managed it, I'm not quite sure. I don't know what the remaster is like on Nintendo Switch, whether it's sort of retained that or improved on the soundtrack. But for an NES game, to get a soundtrack like that going is something special. Even from the opening, before the game's even started, you'll start to get a real vibe for the music. And that's something that always plays quite a large impact in my gaming. And it's a fairly brutal game, to be honest. Once you get older, the controls, you're laughing. Main one I always think is just run. Just run. Don't worry about the bombs or any of that. I just run and jump. I just jump over everything. And you can sail to the end of the first stage in a matter of minutes. And you basically tackled hardly anything apart from the one boss that's on this platform. And I thought you had to knock him off, a bit like one of those things in Super Mario 64 where you've got to bounce him to knock him into the lava. But actually, I just destructed him in the end just by throwing bombs from a distance. So, cracking game and certainly highly collectible. If you were to buy that on the NES these days, you'd be paying a pretty penny. So this collection for $17.99 is a bonus. Probably my favorite game on the collection is Master Blaster Boy. Yes, that Game Boy game, but loaded up because it's actually very, very good. You'll never get killed, basically, or I haven't yet anyway. But once you get past the first couple of stages, you encounter somewhere that's all water. And if you click on the start button, you'll open up a little open screen, and things you've collected are like a child's rubber ring. And you can put the rubber ring on and go to the next piece of island. But what you've got to remember is have a look at how many rubber rings you've got, because obviously you don't want to get stuck. So, and also, while you're dodging about, you'll find these sets of stairs when you blow things up. If you want to go down them, again, press start and have a look to make sure you've got lanterns, because when you go down there, it's pitch black. So you want to count how many lanterns you've got to try and get round them and get all your collectibles. At the same vein, if you don't want to do that, you can just head straight to the exit, and all you've got to do is pick up the key and go straight through the exit. And to be honest, you can probably avoid most enemies if you don't want to blow them up. I enjoy blowing everything up and getting all the collectibles. But as I say, if you don't want to, there's plenty of routes where you can pretty much get through without actually ever facing anything. And as I say, at the moment, I haven't died. So I'm on about level 3 or 4. Something like that. So I'm trying not to rush it too much, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm having great fun. And also there's bosses, and again, just run away from them. Just drop bombs like you would in Bomberman. Just drop bombs and just run off. And there was a stake on one of them as well, and you've just got to get his head. So just watch his pattern, and then as he comes round, just stay on the far side of the screen, chuck a bomb, and you'll just keep blowing at his head every time he comes round. So as I say, fantastic game, and one once you get into that sort of that little RPG bit about using the rubber rings and the lanterns and stuff. There's other things as well, but I won't spoil it. That you pick up. I think people will have a lot of fun there. For a Game Boy game, it's probably the most fun I've had in 30 years. So
it did look cool, I have to admit. So you're doing your job of selling these carts to me, Derek. So I'm all in on Blaster Master Boy now. I'm looking forward to that.
Now, contrary to All Body, Journey to Silas is a pretty hard shooter. I didn't get through the first level on my first attempt, but on the second one, obviously, I learnt from my mistakes. But nonetheless, though, I think you'll find it fairly brutal. I always hang back of the screen, see what's coming, and get a good feel for the enemies. And once you sort of know what you're expecting, you can pretty much tackle that with ease. But I think, again, a great soundtrack to it. And excellent shooter. So I think a lot of people that enjoy Contra and things like that, once they get involved there, and as I say, the bosses aren't easy either. So you'll have a bit of a tangle there. But it's definitely worth a go. And as I say, you haven't got that many lives. So easy does it.
Okay.
Next one's Blaster Master. I know Blunners is a fan of Blaster Master series. Yeah, I mean, this one isn't as straightforward as people might like. It'd been good, really, if they'd have included a map, I think, because you can sort of go to 0.6 or 0.5 or 0.4, and you could end up going the wrong way and perhaps not doing what you need to do first. So, yeah, that could be a little bit tricky to work that out. But once you do, as I say, it's an excellent game, and I love going around in the tank, and I love jumping out of the tank and going up the ladders, and yeah, that's brilliant fun. And I say again, especially in the tank anyway, a lot of the enemies and things, you get them in advance, or if they're going around a platform, it's only getting your timing right. And the controls are very easy. It's not a difficult game with the great controls it's got. So yeah, thumbs up for that one. I'm sure that probably for a lot of people is the cartridge seller, to be honest. Next one's the one you mentioned, of course, which is Error the Acrobat. Now, I'm a massive fan of the sequel, and the sequel is outstanding. The controls are brilliant. There's loads of hidden stuff. The first one isn't quite as brilliant, but I think a lot of people are struggling even just to get off the first level to work out where they've got to go. But as I say, once you get the controls down, the little dive and stuff, there is fun to be had there, and it's fun to go on the trampolines on it and bounce up and down and grab all the hidden goodies. And yeah, it's not heaving with baddies, so it's got plenty of spikes though and things like that you can get caught on. But yeah, I just felt, unfortunately, I played the sequel some months back, and the controls were really tight. And I not only sailed through the first level, but I found all the hidden stuff as well, and I had a brilliant time. So it was a little bit of a come down. It wasn't quite as sharp. First one.
Is it almost like they kind of learnt from the first one and just basically tightened it up and made a better sequel?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I would have encountered this game years ago. I've certainly remembered it, but for some reason, yeah, I don't remember the level layout. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly, but I'm sure I had that in Unirally and a few others that sort of came out around the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
Last one, of course, is Arabian. I love the arcade version. The NES doesn't do a bad job of recreating that, to be honest. Again, it's brutal. So if you're into that type of arcade game where you've got to grab up all the sacks of gold on the pirate ship, there's other levels as well with flying carpets and all sorts of stuff that I really urge people to persevere with. There's no ending as such to the game, but so it'll keep sort of recycling. But yeah, there's about sort of main waves, and yeah, it's brilliant. Once you sort of get, as I say, you get it down, I find the jumping's fair. Obviously getting up and down the masts on the first level and things to grab all the different bags is of course tricky, but that's all part of the fun. And it's certainly one of those ones, even though you might feel a little bit of injustice when you die, you'll still come back and have another go, you know, because you'll want to do better than you did. So yeah, for a lot of people, yeah, I'm hoping they will give that one a go. But he's a bit of a lost leader on the collection that most people obviously go for the bigger names rather than get on that one. But yeah, I would urge him to give it a go.
Okay. This was on my sort of watch list. It was one that I sort of like quite a couple of the titles on. But yeah, that Blaster Master Boy, you're kind of selling this one to me. So maybe yeah, I think this one will need to happen. I think it would probably be on Blunners' list as well, with Blaster Master being on it. And I think Brian said before we went live it was something he's going to look at trying to pick up fairly soon as well. So I think this one will be pretty much in everyone's collection. It's Sunsoft, isn't it? It's a name you recognise.
Blaster Master is amazing. Like, just having that game on there is so good. Like, when you realise you can jump around with your car and then you basically go around upgrading. It's kind of like a kind of bit like Metroidvania kind of game where you're going around upgrading your level to then be able to upgrading yourself to be able to go to different areas and do different things. But from like the time it was made, it's brilliant. And yeah, I'm very glad. Yeah, I might just pick it up just for that game, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? Sometimes you only need one game to just pull that in, and a cart sells. You know, I know everyone that thinks of Sunsoft immediately thinks of like Batman and all these really big hits as well, but the likelihood of getting that is zero. It's a Warner Brothers owned franchise now, so it's never going to happen, I don't think. But there's so many other cool games that you remember with the Sunsoft logo that it's like Nick's just said there, Sunsoft Grand Prix and all that kind of stuff. It's got to happen. So hopefully this one will do well. we can get a few more Sunsoft collections, because there's definitely some other absolute belters to be had. So exciting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Batman games would have been amazing. Yeah, that first Batman game on the NES is hard as balls, but it's a really good game. And that, again, for a soundtrack for a game is mind-blowing. And the little cutscenes as well, it's like, oh man, this is on an NES. Like, how did that happen? But there you go. Would be great to have it over, but yeah. So that will take us swiftly onto the next card to be reviewed, and that is the Delphine Is it Delphine software, or is it just Delphine?
Delphine software.
It is software.
I think that's how you pronounce
there
it.
we go.
Delphine software.
So the Delphine software collection, and I know Derek will have this as well. Mr. Blunners or Mr. Ryan, do you have this one?
I haven't yet, no.
No, I've not jumped on this one yet. I don't know whether I'm going to carry on collecting the home computer cartridges. Yeah, so I've not picked this one up yet, unless Derek sells it to me now, which he's very good at doing. Yeah, so it's not on my radar at the moment.
So this one, from in terms of the home computer, definitely has 2 games on it that I am very excited for, and hopefully run well, which is, of course, it's Another World and Flashback. Though both of those games I really enjoyed, although I only really got to play the Mega Drive port, and I think I got to play Another World on Super Nintendo. I'm not sure, I can't remember if that came to Super Nintendo or not. I'm almost certain it did. The other games on it, I don't know. So it would be buying it for two games that I know quite well, and then a whole bunch of other stuff which would be new experiences for me. But yeah, Derek, how does, I guess specifically for my own peace of mind, how does Another World and Flashback, how do they run?
Basically, Another World runs seamlessly. You
Perfect.
won't have any issues there. The cinematic sequences go off like a T. It's a real breath of fresh air. The minute it loads up and you see him get out of that black car that looks very similar to the Knight Rider vehicle, you know the adventure is going to happen. That lift's going down, and the whole world's going to change. Obviously, you rise out of the water at the beginning. That Kraken, of course, if you hang around, is going to drag you back under and drown you. So you really, as soon as you start in the water, you've got to swim like mad, right to the surface, climb out. And then as you do, right, you've got to try and run to the right. But you can see this great big ferocious beast in the distance, just his black shadow. He's got his eye on you, and he's already nipped off screen, and you're not sure where. And the panic's already setting in. And as you go along, there's like all sorts of slug things on the ground that you've got to try and kick away, because even if they scratch you, you will die instantly. So you can't get near them.
Wow.
But once again, in the background, as you traverse a few screens, there's that black shadow of the beast watching you. Sooner or later, he's going to give chase, and he's going to chase you through those screens. The panic's on. You're coming to a cliff edge. You know you're certain death, and he's not going to give up because he's starving. And as you leap off the cliff, you'll grab hold of a vine, swinging. And with that, you'll literally stop right on the edge of the cliff. But as you swing back on the vine, you land back on the cliff behind him. And then the race happens again. He's chasing you again, but all the other way. I'm not going to spoil it too much for people, what will happen then. But my goodness, he'll charge you through about 6 screens. And it's pretty crazy stuff. In another sequence, you'd be hanging in a cage. You've been captured, and you've got to swing that cage and time it to land on top of one of the guards. You're going to pick up his gun, but remember, be sparing with it, because it's like a mobile phone. It needs charging. So if you overdo it, you're going to run out of charge. So you're with another prisoner. He's the only one who's got the code. So he's got to get down there, and he's got to put that code in. But there's people around trying to get you. He's trying to put in the code. Remember, don't use that gun too much, but here they come. You've got to be sparing. Then you're going to dash literally into a lift. And it's doing the lift the right way around, of course. If people don't know, of course, you go to the top first and then you go straight to the bottom. I'm not going to spoil it too much from there because obviously you will go to the middle. But again, save some charge because you're going to need to blow a door. And at that point, of course, your gun might have run out. Now, luckily, there are charging points around. They're not very obvious. And when you go into the room, you'll get electrocuted. But that's good because that's charged your gun. But it's a very, very quick game. It'll be all over in about 25 minutes, literally. Even more so if you remember the story like I do. But in that short burst of time, you'll have the adrenaline pumping and you'll really feel the adventure, especially when even one bit like Metroid, where you go into the ball, you actually go down a hole to try and escape some villains, and you're rolling around on the side of your body, trying to find your way through these little caves to escape. And yeah, it's absolutely manic. So I think anybody that wants a real energy rush, this is definitely the game that'll get you there. So brilliant. Love Another World. So yeah, excellent game.
Have you ever been a dungeon master, Derek, where you sort of host the game of Dungeons and Dragons? Because you would be absolutely phenomenal. You would make a great dungeon master. Phenomenal.
Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
I get in the way. Carry on, Derek.
That's all right. Obviously, the next one is a Flashback. Now, I remember Flashback from years ago, and unlike Another World, which I had on the Amiga, I actually had Flashback on the Mega Drive. I loved it on the Mega Drive. I completed it. I loved that style of game at the time because I was fresh from the memories of Prince of Persia. And of course, it's very similar in style to Full Void in that way. Again, if you kind of know what you're doing, you're off to a start. But obviously, if not, it can take quite a while to sort of fumble around and find the little box, which I won't tell people what it does, but you know, and watch out for the guards and how you drop down and everything very quietly and step, of course, which is very important. But yeah, I mean, Flashback, again, it's a timeless classic, really, and it's long overdue coming to the Evercade. So, as I say, fact is, the Mega Drive, not the Amiga version, shouldn't make too much of a problem as long as people, you know, if you enjoy Flashback, then it's there in its entirety. And hopefully, yeah, people enjoy it. But as I say, I'm trying not to spoil it too much, that game, because it's very easily done with the things you do in it. But yeah, Flashback's always a big license. It sells itself. The final two, of course, Future Wars and Operation Stealth, are point-and-click games. Now, again, I was very big on these years ago. I used to love things like Broken Sword or the Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, Monkey Island. I had all those sorts of points and clicks. How enjoyable is it on the Evercade? If I had a mouse, it'd probably be a lot more enjoyable. The stories are there in their entirety, and I would urge people to really get involved with some of those stories because there's some great ones. Unfortunately, with one of them, if you don't do a certain bit in a certain segment, if you go on, you can't go back. So basically, you have to start again. So that can make it really annoying, unfortunately, because, you know, it's a shame they just didn't allow you to go back. But yeah, they don't. So as I say, I would urge people to really look everywhere and try and do absolutely everything before you move to the next stage if you can, because otherwise, I say, yeah, you'll be resitting it time and time and time again. But the stories in themselves are very enjoyable. And especially Operation Stealth, which, as I say, had the James Bond license in America. That's got a great story to it. And Future Wars as well, how it unfolds from cleaning the windows to how you end up in this great story is fantastic. But again, I don't want to spoil those stories. I want people to really just try and give them a go. I know they can be a bit long-winded sometimes, and you've got to read everything. But if you've got time, they can be very rewarding. And of course, I don't want people to forget when you buy it, there's also a free gift inside the box. There's a lovely big poster of Another World. And I'm not going to spoil what's on the back of that, but there is something. But obviously, you know, I've already told people about the poster, so I don't want to ruin what's on the back of it. But yeah, there is something special on the back of that poster as well. So yeah, I think people are going to love that.
Because yeah, this is it is a collection that I'm, like I said, for Flashback and Another World was really kind of into. I do like a point and click game, you know. So the given that the other two are point and clicks, I could be really into that. I've recently just finished up the Blade Runner remastered collection. It's just one game, the Blade Runner remaster, which is effectively a point and click adventure as well. So yeah, there's always a good time and a place for a good point and click. So yeah, I'd be all into that. Excellent. But yeah, it's just so good to hear that Another World runs butter smooth, because that's probably the one that I'm most excited for on that collection for sure. Excellent.
I might change my mind now and not get Sunsoft and get this Delphine collection after hearing Derek's review. Then, yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll find out in 2 weeks, won't we? Which one I've picked up.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, Ryan.
No, I was just going to say something that Snestastics mentioned in the chat about the Amiga logo being on the box when Flashback is Mega Drive port. Can they class it as a home console collection when one of them isn't a home console game? At least they've been transparent about it, haven't they? They've said, look, that it is going to be the Mega Drive version of Flashback that's going to be on the cartridge. But if you're new to Evercade and you see that on the shelf, then you're not necessarily going to know that. You're going to think it's the Amiga games, aren't you? So
yeah, it's an interesting one. It's definitely something which is a bit like, but yeah, it's difficult.
It's not something that will upset me or anyone here, but those hardcore people that you get on X or formerly Twitter, they're the types of people who are just going to go off on one about that. And it's just going to cause Evercade a load of headaches over the next few weeks by just sticking that Amiga logo on there. If they'd left that off, then it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah. Oh, well, hopefully it doesn't, because it could sour what is probably a really good collection of games. And like you say, they've been open about it. They've said it is what it is, and that's where it's at. So yeah.
They're quite thick-skinned, to be fair. So I think it'll just they'll take it and move on.
Yeah, agreed.
Derek, the other side.
Yeah. Don't forget to put it up on your walls.
Imagine that picture of Derek on the other side. That'd be brilliant. What a bonus!
I'd have that on my wall.
No.
I can see we've got a few questions that have been started. So yeah, if anybody does have some questions they want to ask, do get them in the chat. We'll get to them in just a moment. We do have one more topic to bring through here, and that is Evercade was at the Blackpool Gaming Expo. Was that at the weekend? Was it this weekend just gone? Looks like it was a really good event. There's a couple of people that have managed to get hands-on with some of the Super Pockets. I know John Crazy Burger managed to have a go on one. So John, if you're still in the chat and can fill us in, and we'll direct people obviously to your video, which I think you talk about them in. But yeah, has anybody seen some of the footage and some of the stuff from Blackpool Expo to see what Evercade brought to the convention?
I watched Crazy Burger's video, so I saw him hands-on with the Super Pocket. I was a little bit concerned because it looked like there was light bleed on the Super Pocket, but that Ryan from Blaze has come out and said that it's a demo unit and it's going to be fixed in the products that are coming out. So that's not a worry there. They do look very small though, the Super Pockets, and I don't know if Crazy Burger felt that they were too small. Playing a game like Duke Nukem on it, for example, is the screen going to be too small? I don't know. Maybe that's something you can tell us. But the actual stand that Evercade had looked like they had put quite a bit of effort into it. They had a couch there, they had some screens, they had 4-player VS on the go. They had like a spinny wheel thing where you could win. And John Crazy Burger, you're the only person I've ever known happy to receive like a screen cloth in your video. You're really tough with it, like an Evercade screen cloth. So I'm glad you won that. Just let us know in the chat what the top prize was, because I'd love to know if there was
screen cloth
away. Yeah, if they were given away. Yeah. What else they were giving away? Because I tried to look at I think they were giving away full voice stickers as well. But yeah, I was trying to read from the spinny thing in your video what they were. What they were giving away. But yeah, do check out Crazy Burger's video, because he does give a really good review of what's on offer, or what Blaze or Evercade had on offer at the Blackpool Expo.
Excellent. Mr. Derek, what have you seen from the expo?
Yeah, I mean, lots of pictures of the chairs with the EXPs set on them and things like that, so people could just go and chill out and have a go on some of those games like Duke Nukem, etc. So yeah, it looked like a nice event. I haven't been to Blackpool in many years, but yeah, always excellent fun there to hit the pleasure beach and of course get some gaming in, which would be lovely, wouldn't it? I used to love all the arcades down there. I've played many and spent a lot of money as well in all those arcades. Yeah, totally worth it. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, maybe we need to think next year if Blaze do a UK convention. Let's see if the four of us can get there and do a Evercade podcast live at the expo.
Yeah.
See if we can do it live from the Blaze stand. That would be good fun. Yeah, because I would love to be at a convention that Blaze are at. I really would, because we've met Sean at OLL. He's a really nice guy. Obviously, we had him on the chat a couple of months ago. I would just really love to see a stand that they've got and just see people interact with it. I was just not able to make WASD, and obviously Blackpool wasn't able to make Blackpool. So yeah, it'd be cool if they're going to be at some events next year. That would be interesting to see. But yeah, if anyone has got some photos they want to share, do feel free to share them over in the Evercade Hangout. We've definitely had a few people put some stuff in there. So yeah, if you've got some footage or some photos from Blackpool, or even WASD, I know that was a few weeks ago now, but yeah, feel free to get those photos shared in the Evercade Hangout, because we do enjoy seeing you guys interact with everything. Yeah, no, it's nice seeing John. They're saying that the Super Pockets actually do feel like a premium product. That's encouraging, because people were sort of talking about the price point, and is it at the right point? Is it this? Is it that? So to hear that actually it feels like a pretty cool product, that's great. That's encouraging. So yeah, fingers crossed that will actually turn out to be a good little jaunt for them. Yeah,
I read a really interesting comment about the Super Pocket. Someone put in the Evercade Hangout the other day, and they think, this is their opinion, not mine, that they think that the EXP has become too much hard work for Evercade with Wi-Fi and all these updates built into it, and they've gone back to basics with what they know with the OG Evercade. No Wi-Fi or anything like that with these Super Pockets, and they've almost gone backwards. I don't know whether anyone else got any thoughts on that, but when I read it, I thought that's quite an interesting point. But I don't know. That's all speculation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I don't know, because I mean I don't have an EXP. I do want an EXP. I would rather have an EXP over a Super Pocket, purely because I just want that screen. I want that lovely crystal clear screen, and I'm sure the screen on the Super Pocket is lovely as well, but it's just the size. I'd like to have that slightly bigger screen. I'd rather have a slightly bigger unit. But the Super yeah, you said that a few times. But the Super Pocket has probably got a place. It does look small, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you really wanted to just have a real small something to have, that you would probably be smaller than my mobile phone, to be fair. Looking at it, I've got one of the the Max iPhones, and they're pretty big. It's like a little iPad mini in your bloody pocket. So I would imagine the Super Pocket would probably take up less room in my pocket than that. So I don't know. I would love to play one and just see what they're all about. But yeah, it's nice that people have seen it. Nice that people have played it. Obviously, I trust John's opinion on that sort of thing, because he's a very honest chap. So if John's saying that actually they're built pretty good and it feels like a premium product, I would say that's probably a sign off that it is. So interesting. Interesting.
And just to say, John was voted the #1 Evercade channel in the Evercade Hangout the other day. So Crazy Burger is the place to go for all your Evercade reviews and previews. He's got loads of content on there. So do jump over, give him a subscription, and let him know that we sent you over there.
Got to be done. Okie dokie. So there's a couple of questions that have been starred. So let's go to those. The first one is from Mr. Taylor, and that is he's heard there's a few issues with flashback sound. Not tried it himself yet. Has anyone else had the issues? So Derek, have you noticed any issues with flashback sound?
Yeah, there has been a few people mention to me that when you save state it, when you go back into that save state, there's been some sound issues. I don't know if it happens in a particular point in the game or whether it's just straight away from any point that you've save stated. I'll have to investigate that myself. But yeah, unfortunately, that's disappointing to hear, to be honest, because Flashback, as I say, is probably the premier title on that collection. So it's 9 out of 10. That's the one most people are gonna go for. As I say, I was another World person, but most people I know out of the two would probably go for Flashback. So yeah, I'm hoping that these issues can be resolved quickly, because this is something that's going to put a lot of people off if it's not rectified.
Okay. The next question from Pete, Mr. Snestastic. Has the label watched the IGN Super Pocket review?
I think he means panel, doesn't he?
Yes, label. I read it like it is. Yes, I've seen the IGN Super Pocket review. They are quite complimentary of it. It's IGN at the end of the day. It's very difficult to really form a really solid opinion of what they think. Generally, when IGN review a product or give their previews on something, I will watch it, but frequently I'll mute it and just watch it, because more often than not, all I'm interested in is if it's a game, I just want to see the gameplay. I want to see how it runs. I'm not overly interested in what someone from IGN thinks about it. But yeah, they seem to quite like it, and they've got no reason to, I guess, lie about it, because it's Blaze and it's IGN. It's like it's David and Goliath. These two, one's a giant corporation and the other's a small independent UK company. So if they didn't like it, I'm sure they'd just be like, yeah, it's not for us. Has anybody else seen the IGN review?
Yeah, I have, and I would just give with a bit of a air of caution that they appear to have the most up-to-date cartridges sent with the Super Pocket. And it'll be interesting to see someone like I know Crazy Burger will probably put in all 50 cartridges to see if they're running and if they fit. That's a review that you need. You need someone who's got a back catalogue of Evercade games and whether they're going to be compatible with the Super Pocket. Whereas IGN, I think, would probably send a bundle of Full Void, Sunsoft, Delphine, a Super Pocket, and that the spec of those is going to be spot on for the Super Pocket because they're all new. So yeah, it will be interesting to see like Crazy Burger's review, because he'll test much more features on the device. And something I did notice on the IGN review as well is there appears to be adverts for collections with built into the Super Pocket. Don't know if Crazy Burger noticed that the other day, but I can't really explain it, but it kind of, you've got the built-in games, and then it took you to like a sub menu of the collections that were available, and you could scroll through, and it was almost like buy these now, and it had Technos and other games on there.
Okay, interesting. Maybe it's, again, are they demo units? Maybe it's like a nice little easy way to throw in a.
No, I think Sean's confirmed that is built into the system. It's a carousel for collections.
Yeah. Okay, so it's just like here's what you could be playing on this type thing.
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not Technos though, because you can't get hold of it. So I don't know.
Or any Atari ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Cool. So those were the questions that we've had there, and we have come to the end of all of our topics. So there's been a lot to talk about this month. There's probably going to be even more to talk about as we start edging closer and closer to November, when we should be getting Full Void. We should be getting Nukem. There's a lot coming out in November, and then all gearing up for December, getting to that busy period of the year where everybody goes absolutely bananas, eats roasted chestnuts, and buys each other lots and lots of gifts. So it's shaping up to be a busy end to the year, really. There's so much coming out and so much going on that it's we're just gonna have to be quite on it, I think, coming up for the next few weeks. There's lots of cool stuff to be talking about, so I'm genuinely excited. Genuinely can't wait.
And I'm sure there will be some curveball along the way. There always is, isn't there? Just with anything in life. So that will give us something else to talk about. There'll be something that will happen, because that's just the way of the world, isn't it? So
it does.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting few weeks.
Yeah. Go on, Derek. You were about to say something about a curveball.
Yeah,
then.
of course there will be, another cartridge announcement. So the year isn't quite out yet. So don't forget. Okay. Yeah. Exciting time ahead.
Do we know when that announcement's coming?
I'd imagine it'll be before Duke Nukem arrives, because obviously then you've got your Demons of Asberg and whatnot. So obviously you'll want pre-orders to go up in November, ready for February. So yeah.
Okay, excellent. Just before we disappear then, that question there from Julian D. So what is your favorite game across the most recent 2 carts?
Well, it's probably Blaster Master Boy, I think, on Sunsoft. Yeah, that really sort of grabbed me unexpectedly, to be honest. I really expected to be on there like 30 seconds and say, oh no, I don't like that. But actually, I was on there for a good bit of time and thoroughly enjoyed it. So that between that and Another World, they're definitely my favorites out of the 2 cartridges so far.
Excellent. Okay. So we've come to the end of the show there. So thank you everyone for tuning in live. You've made the chat very enjoyable as always. There's always lots of interactions going on. So thank you all for joining us live. If you've enjoyed the content, do give the video a little cheeky thumbs up, that we know that you've been here. And the same goes for anyone that comes through from the various algorithms that send you to strange and wonderful places on the internet. Do give us a little thumbs up if you've made your way over to us. If you are new here or you aren't subscribed, please do consider hitting that subscribe button, because that does help us out a ton, and allows us to do lots and lots more things. So we will see you in 2 weeks' time. And just so that I don't click it and then click off it, is one of us is going to click the outro, and we should have decided this before we went live. But yes, right. Look at him; he's good to go. Good to go, like a coiled spring, ready to make that seamless. So again, thank you everyone for joining us, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time. So good evening, and see you again.